Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with more Link Click. And I want to make something clear. Last time I think I said there were 3 episodes left. Apparently there's 4. I got the number wrong. There's 11 episodes, not 10. Um, so there are 4 more episodes left. Um, we're just going to go with that. I apologize for making the mistake last time. But yeah. So we're doing episode 8 at least today. And I say at least because here's the thing. We will be finishing off Link Click by next week. Well, we'll be finishing it next week, for sure. And the reason for this is because I'm just gonna say it now. It's not gonna be that big of a surprise or anything. But the Ghost of Molly McGee is coming back, and as you know, that is a first impressions continuation show, just like Link Click is. I need to get Link Click done so I can have a spot for Ghost of Molly McGee because that's one of those shows that I consider a priority show. It supersedes everything else that's already on my list and jumps to the front whenever it gets the chance. So, because of that, finishing off Link Click right in time, because it's next week, Saturday the 1st, that the episodes start coming out. And there's going to be like 5 episodes pretty much at once, I think. Like, they're releasing them, I think they're releasing 5 episodes on the Disney app, the Disney Now app, or whatever it's called. And then they're going to start releasing them, like, periodically on television, like weekly or something. Either way, we'll be able to get to the episodes. We'll be able to get to stuff. And I want to make sure that I can get to it right away. I do not want to wait. We've been waiting long enough for more of this series. And so, yeah, the fact that we can end off Link Click right in time is just amazing timing. There's no other way to put it. It sucks, though, that we have to finish off Link Click. Because you guys know I've been enjoying the shit out of this series, and this final act of the season, at least. Still don't know exactly when Season 2 is coming. I'm guessing probably either the summer or the fall. So, we'll see. But, either way, I am really excited because we're entering the final act, and like I said, it's going to be focused on Emma, the girl from the very first episode. We're finally coming back to that, and we kind of knew that we would be because we had seen in the second and I think third episode as well, Luke Wong had been seeing the reports and everything about her death. So it was very clear that it was going to come back into the picture. I think that my initial theory is going to be correct. Because, again, I misunderstood the lyrics of the theme originally. And I thought, instead of come back from the dive, I thought it said, like, come back, no, what was it? It was something like, I thought instead of dive it said time. I don't remember the exact lyric at the moment. But, yeah, I misheard that and everything, but once I started seeing the lyrics, I started realizing I was wrong. And yeah, so I thought that they were going to try to bring someone back from the dead and everything. Or no, that's what it was. It was bring back from the dead, not from the dive. Yeah, or from time. I accidentally said dead instead of dive, not time. Time was not part of it. Like, it was like, it's like come back from the dive, but I thought it said come back from the dead. That's what it was. But yeah, so I had theorized that maybe they'll, like, be able to somehow bring her back or to stop her death from happening. Something like that. And I'm starting to think that might be the case. I'm starting to think that might be the case. Because of what we saw and everything. Because of the information we got regarding that, and the fact that this is coming back. Plus, the fact that her death in the first place was caused by Chen Xiaoxi's actions, meaning it wasn't originally supposed to happen. Now, they've said already, Luke Wong has said already, that they can't stop death. They can't reverse death. But that was a very notable moment in the series. It was this big multi-parter that really changed the feeling of this show and did wonders for Xiaoxi's character development. That line was clearly important. It wasn't just like, oh, in this case. I think that that's what this is going to have to be about. I don't think Lu Guang is going to accept it or be okay with it right from the start. I think he's probably going to be against the idea, very much so. But Xiaoxi is going to do everything he can to fix this once he finds out, because he doesn't even know still. At the end there, it's only Lu Guang who saw the picture, because he wanted the officer to field all of the work through him first, which, considering his power and everything, makes sense. Yeah, this is going to be a very intense and exciting and probably super emotional final act of the season. And while I could probably do all of it together, I probably shouldn't, because one, spacing it out a little bit is going to help just the overall feeling of it, but also it'll help my emotional state. It won't be good for me if I try to do it all at once. So we're at least doing episode 8 today, maybe episode 9 as well, but probably not. But either way, we are going to finish it by next week, which means next week we've actually got quite a bit to do on top of doing the stuff for, we're going to be doing the Film Red stuff, the Film Red episodes of One Piece, and then doing the movie and everything. So, on top of those extra reactions, we're also doing probably 3 episodes, most likely, of Link Click next week as well. So, yeah. If we do end up doing 2 today, we do. I've got them all downloaded ahead of time, so. Also, speaking of, the original website I was using to get these, the one that had the weird subtitles that were just not great, apparently at some point, I don't know when, but the past few episodes I've been getting them from another site. Well, I decided to check again on the original Anime Pahe, and they have good subtitles. So at some point they switched the subtitles. So all the rest of these are going to be from Anime Pahe, and hopefully the subtitles stay, because I only know for a fact that they're good for episode 8. I don't know why the early episodes, though, had really crappy, subtitles that, you could barely read. I don't know, but hey, as long as they're better now, as long as we can read them better, that's what matters. So, all of that being said, we're just going to get into this and hope for the best. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Or possibly episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. This was easily the weakest episode of the series so far. It wasn't bad. It was good, but that's all it was. And considering every episode prior to this, the first 7 episodes have all been, phenomenal, basically. It's saying something when it's just good. This episode, though, was clearly meant to be a little bit of a breather between how heavy the last act was to what we're going to be going into with this murderer. So it makes sense, and we got a little glimpse of him. I think that the guy who was going after the girl to help and everything was the actual killer, and that when chasing, like trying to chase him down, Xiaoxi ended up just the killer got away, and the one who confronted him was just that idiot from the bar who was obsessed with Shang Chang. That's what I think. That they were two different people at two different points. Um, Shan Shan is possibly dead now, though. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure, but it is possible. All we know is that the killer has her phone, and that's a problem, clearly. So, where this goes from here, we're definitely going to be going into that, but obviously we're also going to be going into the stuff with Emma still. Basically, this last act is going to center around the killer. The killer and putting a stop to him. Basically, solving a murder mystery, you could say. So it's going to get really heavy again. This episode was just a little breather between, which is good. It's a good thing to have that. But because of that, the episode was just weaker than literally every other episode in the season so far. And that's, I'm not even saying that's necessarily a fault of the episode. It's just because the rest of them are so good. And this one is basically a transitional episode. But when it gets exciting, like when he sees the killer and goes after him, and then, of course, the ending bit, when it gets exciting, it gets exciting. So there is that. But it's just, most of the rest of the episode was just a lot more lighthearted. Like I said in the reaction, a lot of the comedy was akin to some of the comedy that was shown in the first episode that really wasn't seen at any other time in this series. There's like a little bit of goofy comedy in the first episode, then it just disappeared for the entire rest of the series until now. And we see the goofy comedy again, and it's like, it's good to use as a break here, but it does feel kind of out of place, admittedly. It's good to use for this transition, for this moment of levity before we get into the heavy shit again, but at the same time, it does, because it's not used throughout pretty much the entire rest of the season, it does feel out of place. But it's not like terrible or anything. Like, I've seen a lot of shows that can get very dramatic and heavy, do a lot of lighthearted comedy too. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's a great example of that. One Piece is also a great example of that. But Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is what I kind of went to first because of the style of the comedy, even with like the more chibi designs. Like, Brotherhood would do that on occasion, where you'd see like kind of more chibi-ish faces for Ed and Al and stuff. It's kind of reminiscent of that. But yeah, it just, the stakes weren't as high generally for this job. Like, they just were helping basically a friend find out what her partner said to her when she was drunk. That's it. Like, low stake job. And again, the big stakes only came in at the end with the killer. Like, most of this episode was just, it was just good. Again, it wasn't bad, it's just comparatively. But that will lead us into the next reactions really well. That will lead us into the future of this series and just the end of the season. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Link Click? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.